Good evening. It is November 11th, 2020 when this video is being recorded, and it is the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II. Just think about that for a second. 3/4 of a century since World War II came to an end. And we haven't had another world war since then. Now, we've come close. Cuban Missile Crisis, anybody? But we haven't had another one since then. And just think about how different life would be for all of us today if the outcome of that war had been different. Well, there's a group that you're all familiar with that could care less about that. So let's discuss that for a second. So, Jehovah's Witnesses, as you know, don't celebrate any holidays or anything of the sort. They have no regard for any observances like Christmas, Halloween, Valentine's Day, Easter, birthdays, Canada Day if you live in Canada Day, Independence Day if you're in the States, or any other kind of national holidays of that sort. But we're not here to talk about Easter and Christmas. We're here to talk about Remembrance Day. So just like every other holiday, Jehovah's Witnesses have no real sense of appreciation or any desire to observe even a holiday like Remembrance Day in Canada or Veterans Day if you live in the States. And I know that other countries in the world also have their own observances or celebrations, commemorations, whichever word you want to use. But since this video is in Canada, I'm going to use the term Remembrance Day, not to dump all over other countries and their observances, but because I'm in Canada, I'm going to use the phrase Remembrance Day. So growing up in school, of course, at around November 11th, as a young Jehovah's Witness, I would not be partaking in any of the Remembrance Day observances. Wearing a poppy, forget about it. Reciting the poem in Flanders Fields, absolutely not. In fact, I can remember being in grade 3 and the class being taught on how to recite this poem and, in my opinion, butchering the hell out of it. And I was sitting at the back doing something completely separate from the rest of them while they were learning how to recite in Flanders Fields from memory and with a bit of feeling, I guess.
In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row.
Anything else, like any kind of school observances or the moment of silence and so on, yeah, it was supposed to be like, nope, you can't be any part of that. Albeit, at least when the moment of silence at 11 o'clock came, yeah, I was allowed to be quiet for that because I guess there was a sort of respect there, but, not participating in anything beyond that. I just want to stop and think about the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses don't even pay any kind of mind or remembrance to all of the people that fought so that they could have the freedom to preach what they preach and behave as they do and believe what they do, however destructive and cultish that is. Adolf Hitler vowed to stamp out Jehovah's Witnesses, along with Jewish people, of course. And he had Jehovah's Witnesses in concentration camps as well. And this is something that Watchtower, with videos like Purple Triangles, will go out of their way to make sure that you know, oh yes, Jehovah's Witnesses were in those concentration camps too. Many people died in those camps and so on and so forth. They had to wear the purple triangle and they were persecuted and on and on and on the list goes.
Among the organized Christian religions in Germany, it was only the Jehovah's Witnesses who refused any compromise at all with Hitler and the Nazis. Like the first Christians, they too were reviled and ridiculed, and they were martyred. Among the millions who perished in the Holocaust, there were some 5,000 Jehovah's Witnesses.
In fact, any time that Jehovah's Witnesses undergo any kind of censorship or persecution, they are very quick to have that on the front page of their website in a big banner. More persecution in Russia. Oh, this brother who was thrown into prison for 2 years for practicing his faith in Russia. Well, they're under ban in Russia, so openly practicing their faith, they're willfully breaking the law. But think about that. Russia has banned them, but it's not like every other country in the world has banned them. I mean, they're able to openly practice in most countries in the world. They're able to openly preach and everything in Germany, where they were going to be stamped out, supposedly. But if it hadn't have been for the countless numbers of men and women that fought in the war, many of which died and laid down their lives, fighting against an ideal that would have censored out all kinds of free speech, freedom of thought, freedom of religion, things would have been very different.
We are the dead, short days ago. We lived the dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields, in Flanders Fields. And now we lie in Flanders Fields.
But Jehovah's Witnesses, under Watchtower's strict rules, are forbidden and choose not to even give a passing thought to remembering and commemorating those that laid down their life so that they could enjoy what they have today, so that all of us could enjoy what we have today. How disrespectful can you possibly be? How cold can you possibly be to be saying, no, we're not going to do that. Not going to wear the poppy. I realize I'm not wearing one, but with COVID this year, going out and getting a poppy, incredibly difficult to come by. But in school, I was not permitted to commemorate or remember people that had fallen in battle. And I have ancestors that did. Unfortunately, I don't know their names off the top of my head, but I do recall seeing pictures of ancestors of mine that fought in World War I. Yeah, they fought so that I could have the freedom to speak out today, so that I could enjoy the freedom that I have today. So of course, I feel grateful to them for what they did. Jehovah's Witnesses, on the other hand, well, the argument is, well, it's a nationalistic holiday. No, it's not. It's not a nationalistic holiday. It's a day to be thankful and remember what it took for us to get to where we are today. Jehovah's Witnesses are so eager to commemorate the memorial of Jesus Christ's death. But think about that. They're willing to commemorate the human sacrifice of an innocent man, supposedly so that all of us could have our sins forgiven, because some book says so, because some God up in heaven says so. Yep, that was the only way for us to have life. So they commemorate that, but they're not willing to give even just a moment of time, or even just one day, to think about the people right here on earth in the past 100 years that have fought so that we could all have the freedoms that we enjoy today.
Take up your quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high.
When I was younger, I used to wonder about that. And I was told, well, no, it's a nationalistic holiday. But I thought, well, wait a minute, but this isn't about Canada or the US or anywhere else. This is about people. And aren't we supposed to be loving? Well, they shouldn't have gone off to war. That's what I was told. Okay, but if they didn't, then who would have stood up against Adolf Hitler? What would have happened then? But they don't want to acknowledge these things. And yet, they want the world to shed so many tears and feel sorry for them and have everything in newspapers everywhere when someone in Russia is arrested for 2 years for practicing their religion. Doesn't that seem like they want to have it both ways?
If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow. In Flanders Fields, in Flanders Fields.
So many people gave the ultimate sacrifice. And Watchtower and Jehovah's Witnesses are so eager to just say, well, one day Jehovah will fix everything. And until then, we remain no part of this world. And I even looked up information to see like what they could say about Veterans Day or Remembrance Day or anything like that. The only thing that I could find in the publications index from 1985 to 2021 about holidays and the Christian attitude towards them was from the Reasoning from the Scriptures book, which last I heard was discontinued and they were told to discard all copies of it. And in there, they talk about Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter, and then they talk about holidays that are to commemorate national events. And the only thing that they can come up with are some scriptures that we're all, as ex-witnesses, probably familiar with, about Jesus saying, I am no part of the world, therefore you are no part of the world, and because of this the world hates you. Or I am no part of the world, or even Daniel 2:44 about God's kingdom being set up and never brought to ruin. What does that have to do with maybe just showing a little bit of thanks for the men and women right here on earth that laid down their lives in battle, fighting against oppression and fascism, against Nazism? No thanks for them, but plenty of thanks and adoration and worship of a God that in their own Bible orders men and women to war, even at times promising to help them and then pulling the rug out at the very last minute. Does that seem right to you? It doesn't to me. 75 years since World War II. We haven't had another World War since. We have had wars, yes, but we haven't had another world war since then. And I hope that we never ever do. But for those that did step up and fight, for those that came back traumatized by what they saw, thank you. For those that laid down their lives and died in combat, thank you for everything you did. Thank you for watching.